just to alert you that might happen. And those questions will be forwarded to the witnesses through the chair, and I'd ask all witnesses who get such questions to try to be as speedy as they can in providing responses. And with that, this hearing is adjourned.
Mr. DeJoy accountable. Who's culpable in situations like this where employees are being paid back through the company for political contributions they make? And what would you say to employees who are wrestling with whether to come forward and provide information about this straw donor?
Gentleman's time has expired, but the witness may respond.
Thank you. When the CEO is pressuring employees to make these kinds of contributions, it is the CEO who is culpable. That is very clear in the law. If the recipient committee knows that they received the money through a fraudulent scheme, they should refund the money to the original source or disgorge it. But given the information we know, it would not eliminate the culpability of the person who engaged in the straw donor scheme.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gentleman from Wisconsin, Mr. Grothman, is recognized for his 5 minutes.
Thank you. I have some questions for Mr. Plunkett, but first of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Palmer for his questions. It really shouldn't matter the political background of someone, but I had been left under the impression that Mr. Painter was a Democrat unless Mr. Palmer brought up that he had, or he was a Republican, unless Mr. Palmer brought up that he had run for U.S. Senate. I never would have dreamed from his testimony.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent. It's just not true. I ran in an open primary as an independent.
Okay, but not a Republican. Mr. Plunkett, a lot of the attention.
I'm sorry, did you say you were an independent, Mr.? No. Go ahead, Mr. Grothman, excuse me.
Were you an independent? Is that what you're saying now?
I was a Republican for 30 years through 2018 and became an independent in 2018 because of my disgust with what's happening in the Republican Party.
Okay, but I was under the impression you ran in the Democratic primary. Okay, Mr. Plunkett, a lot of the attention to the post office has come because Postmaster General DeJoy is trying to rein in costs. Do you feel his cost control measures benefit mailers and anyone using the postal system?
Well, certainly any efforts that make the Postal Service more efficient redound to the benefit of all users of the system. Last week, the Postal Service's Office of the Inspector General issued a report showing that from 2014 to 2019, overtime usage had increased at the Postal Service by 30%, despite the fact that mail volume declined in every one of those years. So we care very much that efforts are maintained to keep the Postal Service efficient and to remove unnecessary costs.